Great day. Time to call our meeting to order, and we almost out for quorum this morning. We'll all stand and pledge to the U.S. flag, and afterwards we will have the roll call by the clerk. I pledge to the and one nation.
Please follow your name when it is called, staying here or present. Chairman Ron Williams.
Here.
Charlie Key, co-chair. Randy Thomas.
Here.
Mark Van.
Here.
Jeff Simmons.
Here.
Terry Dix. Ron Jones. Steve Brown.
Here.
Jordan Wade.
Here.
Joey O'Hearn.
Here.
Jennifer Daniels.
Here.
David Kraus. Joel Foreman. Stas Vinchik.
Yes.
Stosh, pardon me. Van Brown. Thank you.
Quorum. Are there any additions or relations to this morning's meeting?
Not for me, Chair.
I want to add an addition to bring an update on career workforce. Everybody know what's going on there, what happened yesterday, and where we go from here. All right. I need a motion to approve the minutes from our December meeting. The motion by Charlie Key. Second by Jeff Simmons. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign, that motion carries. All right, discussion item, Madam Chair.
So first on the agenda, made the announcement last week, but I wanted to make sure that this board got an official invitation from me. But we have a groundbreaking event scheduled for Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the North Florida Mega Industrial Park. This is our first tenant. Company is AgriLiquid, previously known as Project Harvest. It's a domestic fertilizer company out of Michigan. Family owned and operated, been in business for more than 40 years. Really good group. I know it seems kind of rushed for this, but March 19th is also National Agriculture Day. So it seemed, a good time to move forward and celebrate both. Our first company coming into the park, as well as this event. Going to have some 4-H kids and FFA kids out there helping out with the event and just a really good welcoming party, if you will, for the company. So I'd really love if you as the board could be there to support. Should have gotten an email yesterday and I'll send another one today. But the agenda has us meeting at the sheriff's office somewhere around 9 o'clock, before 9. We'll transport people to the actual event site, which will be actually on AgriLiquid's property. So we have the groundbreaking event set up there. So again, just gather at the sheriff's office, and then we'll transport from there. But really love it if the entire board could be there.
Tuesday at 9.
Tuesday at 9. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm aware it's spring break, but I've got 4-H kids who are excited about being there. So hopefully you can carve out an hour and a half of your day that day too.
Career course was on the agenda, so that did not have to be a addition.
So this board is aware of the changes that have been going on with Career Source. So in the last couple of weeks, what has happened, our local Career Source, Florida Crown.
Let's go back to what led to where we are now.
So let's back up about a year and a half, 2 years or so. We've been having this conversation for a while about how the state was looking to realign the Career Source boards across the entire state and consolidate, make them stronger units as opposed to spread out amongst the entire state. So from 30-something career boards down to a smaller number. So over the last year and a half, this process has gone in place. They've done multiple meetings, surveys, just a lot of work that's gone into that. The end result is that the state is Essentially, we're merging with Alachua County's career source. Our local board was given the option recently to either allow the Alachua County to take over their financials or their financials and their administration. So they essentially just had one choice to make. They did vote to move forward with turning over the financial side of their business to Alachua County in front of the July 1 deadline. So July 1, they'll officially be merged into. What that looks like is still being worked out as far as representation on the boards and that information. At this point, we do know that Alachua County is now the financial overseer of our career source Crown's day-to-day activities. Additionally, they are the administrator now because as of Monday, there is no administration in Florida Crown. Everyone from executive director down turned in their resignation. There was a meeting yesterday afternoon that I was not able to dial into, so I don't have a further update just yet, but when I do, I'll provide that to the board.
I have one.
Were you there?
Wasn't pretty, but they tabled all the resignations. Oh, sorry.
Give your name to the clerk, please.
Yeah, Stu Elder. I'm sorry, you gotta recognize me. I don't recognize you. I can fill you in if you want.
Will you give your name to the clerk if you want to make a update?
Yeah.
That's it.
Stu Elder. So they tabled everything. There's a meeting on Monday, and maybe we'll see what happens on Monday. This coming up Monday is another meeting. But they tabled all the resignations. But the interesting part about the meeting was the executive director, Robert Jones, never officially resigned. I spoke to the chairman on the way here. He's never tendered his resignation. There was just an email from somebody else saying that he did resign. I don't know if that counts or not. So we'll see what happens. But everything's tabled and we'll find out on Monday. I hope that helps.
Or if you want to give the board an update on the controversy on the voting right privileges and what was the resolution on that? Alachua County had no votes than all other counties together.
My understanding is there's not a resolution to that yet. They're still negotiating the terms or the details of what the merge looks like first. So there was some back and forth about one vote per county, one vote per entity, meaning Career Source Florida Crown gets one vote, or do each county within that organization, do they get a vote? My understanding is none of that has been resolved as of yet.
So at the time, Alachua County got more votes than all the other counties put together. That's a dictatorship to me.
That's the update that I have for Career Source at this point. It is ever changing day over day. So as we learn more information, I'll make it available.
Any comments or questions from the board on this? It's very important to this board, Career Source.
I will say in the interim, I've reached out to Alachua County. We still need support for workforce, whether that, whoever that entity may be. We need support in the workforce realm. So I will continue conversations and make sure that they're aware of the projects and, the entities that we're working with.
You'll be soon they're restructuring the board and continue
Yes.
in that there will be a probationary period for finances in Alachua County, but that could come back.
At this point, I believe the financial situation that's resolved and they are the overseer of the financials. So at this point, that yes. Well, and we will lose a vote, but the question at this point is how many are we going to have moving forward? So we will be part of that organization and part of that board, but is it Career Source Florida Crown that gets a vote, or is it each county that's part of Career Source Florida Crown? So there's more entities than just us. So is each county going to be represented equally, or is it the entity that's represented? that's in discussion. Correct. That we will be part of their career source organization. Agreed.
What can we do? Community board, but what can we do?
At this point, the assumption is that it's out of our hands and out of even regionally, that this is a state decision moving forward. So I don't know that there's much from a legal perspective that we can do.
I know the problem with finance went on for quite a while, several months. Was there no way that we could overcome that? Yeah, I don't know exactly what the situation was. It's very vague.
Yeah.
But
At this point, I believe that the answer to that is no. There have been several months where it appears that there were opportunities to resolve the situation and it wasn't taken care of. So it seems as if that's why we are where we're at now.
Okay. Thank you.
In happier news, let's talk about the rail development agreement. So as part of your packet that I sent out last week and published is the draft of the agreement that the rail company is currently reviewing. And if you look at the agreement, it is a lot of legal jargon. Unfortunately, neither Joel nor our consultant could be here today. They were both out of the state, which is primarily why it's on the agenda as discussion. Any feedback or information that this board would like to provide, I'd love to hear it. But essentially, this is just the document that is the agreement between us and Florida Gulf and Atlantic, who is the rail provider for the business inside of the park now. This is the entity that we pivoted to after our first choice decided that they could not make this work. And actually, as I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, it was almost a blessing in disguise. Nothing against the first company we worked with, but Florida Gulf and Atlantic is the home team. Under new management, under new administration, they have been very, just a pleasure to work with as we navigate this process and in support of AgriLiquid as well as future business. So I do know, and I've had conversations with some of our local businesses that already have rail service through Florida Gulf and Atlantic, and they support this as well. So I know several businesses along that line right there at 90 enjoy doing business with Gulf and Atlantic. So I'm encouraged with this agreement. It essentially lays out a long-term lease, whereas the county would own the property. The rail owns the actual, track infrastructure related to, and for as long as we could extend this out, we like that. So it's a 50-year lease at this point. Could be extended if needed at that, but any questions? I won't go over this line by line, but is there any feedback or questions or insight from the board regarding the agreement? Or even any questions?
One. I see that in the beginning of the agreement, it's mentioned about Norfolk Southern being part of this as well, for them to provide access to Norfolk Southern.
Yes.
Has Norfolk Southern gone through this as well? Are they able? They're going to come in the back door of that project.
So Norfolk Southern has not been part of the development of this agreement specifically.
Right.
We are working with them in the process of the CRISI grant application. So to back up a little bit, as Jeff was describing, currently the Florida Gulf and Atlantic line comes into the park from the north side. The Norfolk Southern line that runs along State Road 100, we are working with Gulf and Atlantic, Norfolk Southern, even Florida Power and Light's been part of the discussion because of their property there south of the park. Our rail consultants, Warehouser, I think everyone, that's pretty much everyone that's part of the conversation, and our consultant who's drafting the CRISI grant application We've been meeting for about 6 months now, planning this. The CRISI application is very comprehensive. There's a lot of information and data that go into it. So as we're talking through this, the important thing for us in this agreement was that the rail company who's managing the business internal doesn't show favoritism or doesn't prioritize one over the other. It's the company who makes that call, which is why that language is baked in here. So they will be supportive of both. They're at the conclusion of construction of both. There will be a runaround track, if you will, up north for the CSX, old CSX, Vulcan Atlantic line. Same thing on the south side. There'll be a kind of a lay down yard for the Norfolk Southern line so they could switch cars there before coming into the park. So they'll both have opportunity and treated equally.
Do we have an update on where the county is on the intentions to purchase the land for the right of way?
So we won't actually purchase it when we get to this point. Weyerhaeuser will deed it over, same as they've done with the wastewater plant and the water plant, the rails for now. So we'll go through that process that they'll just deed the easement over. And you see reference to a 30-acre gift of land in there. That will be a separate economic development agreement that we'll do, and we'll bring before this board for approval. So this is the contract to essentially manage the business. The economic development agreement will lay out the details of the 30-acre gift. But essentially what that's going to do is give them the property that they need to build both a transload facility up close to the front where the existing rail is, and also give them the balance of the land will be used for the intermodal further into the park. So the transload will be available fairly quickly. The intermodal will help drive business and market. So also the build out of the rail. If we have that further down the park, then that encourages the growth that way.
Is a transload under the 30-acre agreement?
Yes, in what we're working, correct, in a separate actually economic development agreement. And our goal is to utilize maybe 5 or 10 acres of that up front and the balance further back in the park.
Do you know the timeline?
So for construction of rail segment 2 and the intermodal, it's being reviewed by the rail company now, and this is the final draft. We were told at the end of the week we should have something back. Fairly certain that the last set of red lines took care of all the outstanding issues. So I'm hopeful we'll have this on the agenda for next week for the commissioners to approve or to review.
This is our look right
Yes.
now. Any other comments? Need action on that?
No, sir, this was just a
discussion?
step.
Okay.
And again, if you, as you're reading through, have any other questions, please reach out. Happy to sit down and talk through it with you.
Still on?
Still me. Just a couple of updates. Just wanted to let the board know, Clear Sky Health, if you remember, this was Project Blue Skies that you voted to incentivize last year. They actually have submitted permits. So construction should be underway fairly soon. That project is moving along very well. They had to go through Swanee River Water Management District to get some things straightened out and worked with some entities around them. But the good news is they're moving forward and excited for that. So just keep an eye out about groundbreaking celebration with them. Also wanted to give a couple of quick updates on grants. So the Ellisville wastewater plant, if you think back to, I believe it was 2017, when we were awarded that 1.45 million for a wastewater packet plant there. Since then, we've added an additional grant and some other funding to expand a couple of times. Happy to announce that we are now submitting the closing documents for that grant. So the CDBG grant that we had open in Ellisville will be closed and be able to move forward. Still have job reporting that we have to do with that, but that's, comes with any federal through the state grant that we do. NFMIP Parkway West is, oh, sorry.
Ellisville.
Cheers.
Ellisville was a area where we knew that it was going to continue to grow. We sort of kind of based our infrastructure needs on what we thought the timeline for the growth of Ellisville, so we could be prepared for it. Well, it's just like a family emergency. Up come Busy Bee to change the whole dynamics of Ellisville and what we need to do down there. And we are on top of it. We have Ellisville will be the next US 90 in Columbia County. With the Busy Bee going there and the thing that we have to do to make sure Busy Bee is taken care of with the new road that's going in that the state is saying we got to put in. We have property there. We built the sewer treatment plant at the mega site. There would be a sewer treatment plant at Ellisville. That same size or bigger. That's how Ellisville is going to grow. So we as a board of county commissioners got to kind of stay on top of that with grants and money to accomplish the growth there in Ellisville. It's going to be a sight to be seen. It might not be in my lifetime, but in my lifetime, I want to make sure this board want to make sure that we put the infrastructure in to accommodate the growth of going there. Okay. Where is David?
They just
David, is he gone?
in the small conference room.
Another meeting.
Okay, all right.
NFMIP Parkway West is on here. Just wanted to let you know that the permit has been submitted for that road work as well. The exciting thing about the timing of what's happening at the industrial park is when AgriLiquid breaks ground and starts construction, there's also going to be rail construction. The parcel in front of that has to be cleared and the road is going to be under construction almost all simultaneously. So there's a lot of work going to be happening in that one area at one time. And just like going down 4775, right? You start turning dirt and people start talking. There's going to be a lot of communication going on about this area. In addition to the wastewater plant that's under construction, if you've not gone out there, just take a ride out and look at the plant. It's phenomenal, the work that they're doing and how quickly they're getting it done. Just week over week, it amazes me the progress that they're making. So at this moment, the last conversation I had with Ken, the project manager out there, they're anticipating end of the year, first of the year for completion on that, and really excited about that. Last thing under my updates that I wanted to make sure that this board is aware, we are going to host an economic development week this year, and I'm hoping this is going to be something that we do every year on a recurring basis. Joey with the chamber and my staff, we sat down and started planning this out, but if you want to talk a little bit about what our plans are that week.
Sure. So the county, in partnership with the chamber, we're going to host Economic Development Week, May 6th through 10th. That's like the national week for economic development. A lot of our surrounding counties do it. Two-part. So it'll kind of be behind the scenes look of economic development here in Columbia County, but also the week will end with a reception to thank those long-term investors in our community for investing in our community, but also kind of paint the picture to those who may be looking at Columbia County that we're a pro-business community, meet the people they will end up doing business with. We're working on logistics. Hopefully we'll be able to release some specifics in the coming week.
So I really want to bookend the week with an introduction to development and really make it open to the public. It will be a RSVP, so we'll have a head count, but really want to kind of give an insight to how economic development works, what the process is, understanding some of the nuances to actually attracting a company here. And then throughout the week, there'll be some visits with companies, things like that that will get scheduled. And like Joey mentioned, the end, just a good wrap up and chance to network and mingle with our existing companies and hopefully attract some new ones. So I'm excited about this, looking forward to it. So keep your eye out for updates as they come along. I'll make sure we send those out. That's all I have today, Chair.
Okay, before I do public comments, are there any comments from the board? Or anything you want to talk about in economic development and where we're going and how we're going to get there?
Ron, do you have any information on how this 404 is affecting Columbia County?
How, what now?
The 404 with the permitting back to Army Corps.
It's interesting. The only project that I've been working that's fallen into that has been out at the industrial park. And fortunately there, the Army Corps is very familiar with the project. So it hasn't caused any hiccups or delays there. Definitely keeping an eye on that. And so what Mr. Charlie is alluding to is the state had moved the wetland permitting from the Army Corps of Engineers to DEP, and now they've moved it back. So just questions about if there's any changes or any obstacles with that. But again, the only project I've worked with, the Army Corps is very familiar with, so haven't had any problems yet.
And the reason that went to DEP is streamlined for with a lengthy process to get permit. Get the Corps of Engineers now. We're back to that. They took it to DEP and an issue in South Florida with a lawsuit on some rare species problem. And so apparently it was serious enough that they just, it's only been like 4 years, I think, it's been with Stony River or with water districts in general. And they moved it back to Army. But what's the slowdown on final permits at this point? It's yet to be seen, but there's a lot of outcry around the state about it. It slowed down production. I was just curious with the mega park would fall into that because of wetlands, how it was going to affect us.
So I guess the caveat there is the conceptual permits, as long as we don't have to change any of the permitting that's there now. So we don't have to touch any of the wetlands that are already identified, then we don't have to modify the permit. So it doesn't add any time frame. The AgriLiquid was one, they didn't have to do any modifications to their permit. We've got a couple of other companies that are looking at larger parcels at this point. And they're working to make sure they stay within the conceptual permits as well. So really just depends out there how they decide to configure land options. If they can stay out of the wetlands, then it won't delay anything at all.
Yes, sir.
Bill, so more so, we might be looking for the red flags on the new project.
Yes.
It doesn't have as much homework done as Bank Park. Would that be where it would probably pop up?
Yeah, it's a knee-jerk reaction, what I see, but you have to imagine that Army Corps has been out of it for 4 years. Are they ready for it to come back to them? They were slow anyway. So what now the time frame? We're looking a year to 2 years on for permit. Stony River tries to do theirs in a 3 to 6 month window. And while we were doing both, it was all wrapped up in one and done. But hey, you could be another year and a half getting a final permit to go, which in a lot of cases that much time is critical to big corporation.
Yeah, that'll kill the deal
My
right there.
experience is the DEP is bad, the Corps is worse.
The what?
The DEP is tough,
Yeah,
okay, but the Corps is worse.
yeah, completely word. To give you an example, trying to get a road permit to do a road with point real water management, 3-4 months, you had a permit. If water stands in the ditch, it's wetland on the dam. It doesn't make sense. If north end of the county, water gonna stand in the ditch and it's not a wetland. But they classify it as a wetland. The other thing that doesn't make sense with what they do, Kevin paving the road, he want to extend the pipe. Not do anything else but extend the pipe where he can put a mounted in on. Under them that, it's like atomic bomb weapon. It just doesn't make sense of what they were doing, and it takes so long for them to make a decision.
Keep us updated.
All right, anyone else? We'll get to you.
Making sure.
Any other board members? All right, now we are opening it up for public comment, 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
I only have a question on, which certainly concerns economic development in the county. The Sam Oosterhout mitigation credits. Can we get an update on that? I guess you're the only one that can do that. Chairman. I don't know if you can hear me. An update on the Sam Oosterhout mitigation credits that the county spent $1.5 million on and can't use. That's in litigation.
Hey,
Based on-
about the environmental farm. Well, we had a shared meeting and we cannot talk about that until it come public.
The one that wasn't noticed.
We had a shared meeting, and once we go public with it, then we can talk about what took place in our shared meeting.
So it's still in litigation, that's
It
correct?
was not in litigation. We had a shared meeting on resolving the litigation.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Question, just on back to the Ellisville water treatment plant. I know y'all have been adding to the existing plant there, but there's been some discussion, let's call it, about actually building a facility like that's at the mega park there. But we're coming along with that.
Yes, yes. We have been putting on package plants as we need this.
Right.
As I said before, Ellisville have changed all that. With the expected growth that's going at Ellisville, we have the property now that we can put in a sewer treatment plant. It's just coming up with the fund to do so. But that would be the way the board would be going, to a sewer treatment plant instead of package plant, because we're gonna run out of room for package plants.
So you're in pursuit of the funds to build a permanent facility.
Yes, so we are in the process of doing that now.
Okay. Any timeline on that?
The money dictates that.
Well, I always thought, that, but, I
Grant application was submitted for that, I think about 3 weeks, got to go back and look at the calendar. But the grant application was submitted, the particular funding funding source that they're going after, has kind of an unusual threshold for dollar amounts. Like most grants give you a maximum amount. This one pretty much starts at 50 million. So you've got to have a significant project that qualifies. So the plant is being designed now, and it's going to be an advanced wastewater plant. Not exactly like the industrial park. There, I don't think there'll be the deep well injection component, but DEP does have some requirements that are associated to that particular area. So plants under design. I don't know the timing on the grant, but we'll look into that and see what the typical, it's a different grant that we've applied for in the past. So I'm not certain about the cycle, but we'll look into it.
Will the Corps get involved in that in any way?
They most definitely would have to, yeah.
The sewer treatment plant at the industrial park, roughly 35 million. The one in Ellisville will be about 50 million.
There'll be plenty. I just was curious about the timeline in terms of the project that I'm involved in. So thank you for the information.
Well, development gonna speed up the timeline for the development of.
He took over the state
Yeah, yeah,
sewer plant too.
yeah, they got the DOT piece and all that.
One other thing, Chair, is maybe introduce Connie.
Big question.
Introduce Connie. You want me to do that?
Yes, you want to?
So realize, board, that we've not met since the new tourist development director was appointed, but just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware Connie Packey in the corner is the county's new tourist development. Again, still the same office over here. So any questions for her, she's readily available and very eager to learn.
Yeah, she's from Texas, and when the job was offered to her, the information was given to her about the vacancy in Columbia County, she bought a ticket to be interviewed. She's very aggressive, a lot of new thoughts has come in to run the TDC, and glad to have her on board.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Commissioner.
Anyone else? Okay, the recap would be that the agri-liquid groundbreaking, so don't forget about it. On Tuesday, 9 o'clock. It'll be the first for the North Florida Industrial Park, so it'll be a moment in Columbia County growth. That starts Columbia County growth in that area. We are concerned about career source. I am very, very concerned, and the board have been on top of this through our appointed commissioner, Robert Hollingsworth, for the last year. And it's concerning, but we have to work ourselves around it and just see how it works out, since speaking. And the only thing concerns me deeply is one county having more votes than all the other counties put together, so they can dictate anywhere they want to. And that's a real concern right there. So hopefully that worked out. If it's not, well, I just don't know. Just how that's gonna pan out at the end. So with that comment, if there's no other comments, I have a motion for adjournment. Motion. We adjourn.